are listening to the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show, bringing you the latest news and commentary on baseball.
The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out! The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball!
Hockey.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Flyers are going to win the Stanley Cup! The Flyers win the Stanley Cup!
College football.
The Big Ten championship lies on a measurement.
Did he get it? No! He didn't get it! Penn State holds!
They brought back the fun, they brought back the excitement, and now they've brought back a Big Ten championship. The Penn State Nittany Lions are Big Ten champions.
And the NFL.
1:16 to go, 41 yards. Cardona to Allen. Wiskowski. 6 titles, 9 appearances. How about the drive to go close it out? You see Tom Brady. Enjoy him, folks. You're never, ever going to see it again. Not in our lifetime. Nope. So here's Zerline, part 1, 48 yards. And we'll end it. No good. The rain continues. Yes, it does. They've got to snap it one more time. The ball will end up in the hands of Tom Brady on the kneel down. And there it is. The dynasty continues.
Now, here are your hosts, Joe Mays and Justin Raffoff.
All right, well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to episode 274 of the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show. I'm one of your hosts, Joe Mays, and you can see in the background co-host Justin Raffoff, but also joining us this evening for a special show are a few guests, and that would be my wife, Kelly, our friend Greg, who has previously done the music for us, and also via telephone, Greg's wife, Laura. How you doing, Laura? So thanks everyone for joining us, and the reason that we have this kind of a 5-person quasi roundtable here is we decided we wanted to do something different for the show. You know, it's not the July period where sports is in a dead time, you know, the worst month of the year, right, Laura, Justin? July?
I hate you.
Absolutely the best.
Yes, that is right. It is the best month of the year.
But, you know, right now, baseball hasn't started. Football's over except for free agency and looking towards the draft. Hockey and basketball haven't made the playoffs yet. March Madness is about to kick off, which we'll talk about briefly at the end. We want everyone to join the bracket challenge that we do every year. But, you know, we like to do kind of some tangential things here. A few years ago, Justin and I did a movie bracket challenge, which was a lot of fun. But I heard on another podcast they do this desert island scenario where they talk about taking some of their favorite things if they were ever stranded on a desert island, and it just sounded like an interesting topic. So I thought we'd ask some of our friends to join us to discuss this, because we all know that everyone loves movies and television shows, and there's always a lot of strong opinions and debates about it, and it'll be all in good fun. But I'm very excited to hear everyone's choices. So, what's the vote? What do we want to do first? TV shows, movies, or snacks? Anyone?
Snacks.
We know Laura is excited for the snacks because she queried us before the show about whether or not food allergies go with you to the island, and we said no. So this will allow any of us to have any food you can think of, whether or not you may not be able to eat it in this life right now. So
this is a dream island.
Exactly, it is. You know, you get to be by yourself, which a lot of people like. You also get to take some of your favorite things with you, and now you get to eat whatever you want. So we'll go with snacks first, since Laura said that, and because she picked it, why don't we let Laura go first? Laura, what is one of your snacks that you would take with you on a desert island?
Donuts, hands down.
Is there anything specific about the donuts, or is there just like a dozen pack variety?
Is it all there? No, like go into like an Amish bakery.
Oh.
Basically, the entire baked goods building at Green Dragon. I would like to take that with me. Like, leave the jelly filled. I don't want any of that nonsense. But all the other donuts.
Do you have a favorite donut if you had to pick just one?
Yes. Yes. The kind that is the chocolate icing with the white, not Boston cream, but the white cream.
Like the
filling.
frosting
Oh,
kind
those
of
are
filling?
great,
Yeah. Those are really good.
Guys, trust me. I have 30 years of tasting donuts. It's clearly the best.
I think before we go in, we'll go counterclockwise here, and we'll go Greg next. But I do want to just put out some of they're not really ground rules, but it just kind of helps us clarify what the snack category entails. So we're not doing entrees, like we're not picking burgers or pizzas or anything like that. They have to be snack items. Drinks do count, but there is water on the island. No one has to pick water.
So you don't have to pick a drink.
Right, you don't have to pick a drink. You don't have to include water. That is there. And when it comes to if the snack requires some kind of cooking, you are able to cook anything there.
It's a magic island.
It's a magic island, but you're stuck there and you're
Right.
limited.
It's a
to what
magic
can be
island.
there.
It's limited magic.
You are getting an unlimited supply of whatever you pick. It's not like you're going to run out and you have to pick things. It has nothing to do with that.
Like a snack genie.
It is essentially you have a genie that can give you 9 things: 3 TV shows, 3 movies, 3 snacks. Water's already there, but you can't
And no
wish.
food allergies.
There are no food allergies, but you can't wish yourself off the island. So that's kind of limitations
Can I
there.
wish that my snack falls in love with me?
Depending on what it is, I'll say yes. And when we get to movies and television shows, you cannot pick a series as one. So, like, I know Star Wars will come up. You cannot pick Star Wars series.
But what about like TV? Like
TV, you get the whole series.
Oh, okay,
It's one show.
Right. But I can't be like James Bond and like get all
and
24 movies.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly,
okay.
exactly. So, and I mean, if something else comes up, we'll address it. But I just wanted to say that, especially for the people that are watching and listening in the future, those are the ground rules we're playing with, and those are similar to what the ones on the podcast I've heard before. Well, all good fun has a lot of rules. So, all right, Greg, what's your first snack?
I'll probably go with a beverage to get it out of the way. I thought long and hard about this. My first reaction was to say beer, but I don't drink beer daily. I do drink coffee every day, and since it's a desert island, I'm assuming it's going to be warm, so I would pick iced coffee as one of my things to get away from water, and also a little caffeination.
Is there a specific brand or flavor, or just kind of a generic?
Just some sort of iced coffee, not too sweet.
Okay.
Something that still resembles coffee.
Yeah. Wasted pick. No. Okay.
What do you do?
Yeah.
We should all get like 2 "That's Stupid" cards, and Kelly would immediatally slam it down.
I'm
And be
gonna
like,
need more than 2. I know some of yours are going to be dumb.
She's like, because I'm sitting in the room with Greg, Joey, and Justin.
I feel like Laura and I will be on par with some of the choices.
well, since you're apparently the best, why don't you tell us your first snack?
I'm going to go with the classic because I can't get too much of a classic, and I'm just going to go because I'm assuming there's no like weight gain on the island.
Oh my
If you-
gosh,
No.
This is a magic island.
Yeah, okay, so I'm going to choose just good old potato chips with French onion dip.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, that did bring up a good point. I wanted to mention that if it's something like that, that is included.
Okay,
Like, you don't
yeah.
have to use dip and chips as 2 separate
Right, because
things.
that would be crazy.
And
Because-
I want to say, I don't want the kettle cook. They're like super crunchy. I just want.
You know, traditional.
Do you want like
Are they ruffles?
No,
Though?
it's just plain.
Just
like
plain.
Okay.
Hers potato chips.
So hers,
Okay.
like,
Blue bag.
are you talking goods?
No, I don't know. That's a Berks County thing.
Yeah, you're right.
The whole bag is blue.
Hers is
shiny.
a blue bag. Okay.
Chips cooked in lard gross me out.
Yeah, I mean they're okay for the first couple, but then I'm like too crunchy. I just
with
want,
with
like,
my
the
sister when living in Denver, where that's not at all a thing. Like they didn't believe her. They're like, "Oh, you're mistaken." And so my mom sent a bag out, and she took it to work, and it says like lard, and and they're like, "Oh my gosh!" Like they were like amazed and disturbed all at once.
At the same time, right?
Chips and chips and dip made my mom's list. We were talking to her. They're traveling tonight, so they didn't get to. They weren't going to be able to watch, but she shared that was on her list as well.
classic.
It is a classic. It's on there, and there are variations to it. I think we'll hear some of those tonight. I do have a lot of people's to read because this was a very popular topic, and we talked about it last night at Greg and Laura's house when I brought it up, and kind of carried through, and a lot of people talked about it, and it actually came up at the sandwich shop, and everyone there answered. So it's interesting how much it has generated discussion, and that was the whole point. So, Justin, what's your first snack?
So mine is going to be Turkey Hill chocolate peanut butter cup ice cream.
I like the specificity.
I saw you guys visited Turkey Hill Experience, which is like 5 blocks from where I grew up, and I saw it and I saw it and I screamed it. Like it was scrolling on my phone. I'm like, oh, that's where he lived.
I actually turned to Kelly and was like, where we're going is where Justin grew up before moving here.
We told the girls when we were driving.
Yeah.
And I must say that whenever we made our own ice cream in the taste lab, I did vanilla with peanut butter cups and a peanut butter swirl.
See, that's really good. That's really good. They have it. It's on sale at Giant right now, 2 for $5. But and there was a coupon that came this week, so you can get it for $1.88 if you spend $25. Yes. Yes. However, I go for the chocolate with the peanut butter cup stuff, but the peanut butter, I don't know what kind of peanut butter they use in there. I don't want to know. It's amazing, and I can't have enough. I scrape it out of the bowl like that is attached to the sides, it's amazing. So that is my first choice.
That's a good choice, and I like that you went with dessert first because that's exactly where I'm going to go with mine. And that's I figured I have 3. I need something salty, I need something sweet, and I want to drink. So the first one I'm picking is something that just recently came into my life, and it was a game changer. It was a limited edition, and I don't know that they're available anymore. But on this island, I can get whatever I want. So I will absolutely be taking an unlimited supply of the most stuffed Oreos, because those are what an Oreo should be. The regular ones don't belong in a house ever. I don't want to see those anywhere.
What about
double
the thin
stuff?
ones?
No, get out. Double stuff was good, but I always was like, if you put 2 of these together, now you have something. And they finally did it. And I think it was planned to go hand in hand with the release of Girl Scout cookies, because that's exactly when they came out. But
how about the people that argue that Oreos used to be what double stuff are now, and they've been cutting back on the cream?
It could be a conspiracy theory thing there.
The first time Joey ever threatened divorce was when I brought home regular Oreos.
I was like, you got to be kidding me.
She's like, I did it again, and he made it very clear that was strike 2.
So you're wrong, by the way.
Here she is slamming down that card.
I'm just gonna quickly share Jamie's. It was a Luigi's lemon Italian ice, one of which I got out of the freezer to give to her before I left the house. So
really,
it makes me
I did not know she was so passionate about that.
Yeah, and recently very much so.
All right, I think we're back to Laura. So Laura, what is your second pick for snacks?
I think I would have to go nachos.
Nachos, nice.
Nachos?
Like all things I would want to have on a taco, but since a taco is considered an entree, I'm gonna go nachos.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a very smart move. Yeah.
Right? Strategery. Lots of different ingredients, so maybe you just want chips and queso one day. That's fine too.
All right. I mean, I like it. It is allowable. It is like she said, it's a snack. Tacos would be overruled, but nachos, definitely a go-to.
Loophole. It's the desert island loophole.
Sometimes you gotta play to win, and it's finding those little inconsistencies that could help you do that. So that is a great choice. Right, and I will allow it. Actually, Joel chimes in on Facebook and says that he has a friend who won a contest, and he gets 30 pounds of Oreos a month for a year.
30 pounds?
30 pounds.
Each container.
That's a pound a day.
Damn, I need to be his friend.
Each container is... They're not even a pound, are they?
No, that's...
It's probably like 12 ounces? Or 10?
I don't know.
Oh, my.
That's insane.
That's a little
you have to, give them away.
You would have to donate them. Even if you kept one a day, you'd still have too many.
Do Oreos freeze?
I was just going to say, I would crush them up and put them in a bag in the freezer for toppings for ice cream.
There you go.
Forever.
Making that whip dessert with them. That
would that would be very good.
Or whatever they call it. Yeah, that's delicious. So that is a worthy contest for sure. All right, Greg, your second snack.
I think maybe our discussion yesterday, I want to say Laura stole my idea with the nachos, but she did get
she
to
got to go first.
So yeah, I would say that, and I would also emphasize the pork that we had with tacos tonight for dinner would be one of the toppings on there too. So.
Have you ever had the nachos with the pork from Smoky Bones?
No, but that does sound good too.
Oh.
Some with like guacamole, cilantro. Sorry, not sorry. Green onions, sour cream, cheese, obviously.
All right, you bring it back.
Yeah, you lost me there for a second, but I came back stronger than ever. So.
Get on board with cheese.
Yeah, cheese. If cheese is in, we're all good there. Kel, what's your second snack?
I'm gonna mix it up with a beverage, and since calories don't count on this island, I could have a lifetime supply of Dr. Pepper. That's my favorite.
There you go.
Get the beverage in there.
That my best friend Laura brought to me in the hospital after.
Oh, that's right.
Bruce.
What?
What'd you say, Laura?
Uh-oh.
We may have lost her. She could be gone.
Well, she brought me Dr. Pepper before she left.
Not gone. I'm not
there
gone.
she is.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
Hey-o.
Okay.
So what did you say to Kel's comment there? Okay.
Well, either way, it's Dr. Pepper. Not Diet Dr. Pepper, no flavors, just good old classic Dr. Pepper. No ice.
Okay.
I already feel like Dr. Pepper is like almost like cherry Coke.
See, I feel like
Again, wrong. It's fine.
right. I feel
My
like
taste buds don't lie.
I feel like I would go with ice just because it's unlimited. So
Yeah.
like I'm not worried about it, and I think on the desert island I'd want to have it cold. But I do appreciate that. No, like you can have it cold. Like this is an island, so it's coming to you cold. It's probably like that perfect temperature,
Yeah,
and
it's
you
already
just drink
been
it.
like sitting in a cooler of ice.
Right, and if it gets
It's in a
warm,
I don't want it over ice.
Justin, get real.
what?
I said it's in a frosted bottle. Get real.
Oh yeah. So whatever. We've got it solved.
Yeah, we're good.
All right. So Kelly got a drink in now. So you're at chips and dip, French onion, right?
Gotta be French onion.
Plain, regular potato chips, French onion, and Dr. Pepper. Justin, what's your number 2? What are you pairing with your ice cream?
So this is, when I phrase it as if pairing it with the ice cream, I don't know about that.
goes the wrong way.
However, I'm going with the Utz barbecued rippled chips.
There you go.
Again, super specific, but those are the ones I want. That gives me the salty snack, and I had the ice cream with the peanut butter, which was also like the sweet and salty. So like those, I kind of went that route. There are other sweet ones that I have, but I didn't. Yeah, I have to diversify. Because a lot of the snacks that I had down as potentials were some combination of chocolate and peanut butter. So I was like, that's great, but like I have that with the ice cream.
Right, you
so
got it there.
yeah.
I
Oh.
thought briefly that maybe I would do the chips and dip and the sour cream onion Pringles, but they're too close.
It's a little overlap.
Yeah.
All right, so my second snack choice, I'm going to jump on the beverage bandwagon here. And it was a tough one because there are plenty of drinks that I really enjoy. And if we have time, we could always go over some honorable mentions. But I ended up narrowing down to a pretty predictable one, and I went with Clover Farms Icy Tea. That is, I haven't been drinking it in the last month and a half, but when I do feel like I need some caffeine or something sugary drink-wise, that's Clover Farms Icy Tea is where I go. And when I was up at Penn State and in Indiana for 6 years, I barely ever got it. It was always a special delivery.
Yeah, I was gonna say
sometimes from Justin.
I distinctly remember like getting calls, saying like, "Hey, you're going up to Penn State this weekend. Can you swing by the shop?" And like your mom or dad
2
would like
gallons
just
of
give me the
icy tea.
gallons of icy tea to put in the back seat. Yep.
Yep. Yeah, so that's
Which
where
was
I have to
perfectly
go.
safe because I was not going to drink it. So there we go.
Yeah, if I needed mayonnaise or any other condiment, they could send it with him. So.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so I think we're gonna wrap up the snack category with Laura's number 3.
It would have to be ice cream. I'm not picky. Just all the ice cream that could possibly be sent. All the flavors.
So avocado ice cream.
No, not that. But I would probably say if I had to choose a flavor, it would probably be something along the lines of the Hunka Chunka peanut butter fudge from Friendly's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or like any variation of peanut butter fudge ice cream. Chocolate peanut butter's good.
Yeah, I agree. Peanut butter and ice cream's a winning.
Yeah, it's so good.
Like any variation of that, I'm okay with. So that's
Yeah, it's hard to go wrong with those.
So Laura's got, was it nachos, donuts, and ice cream. So she's rolling with water full time there. No drink.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that.
Bold move.
Well, yeah, it's a bold.
I
strategy.
admire it. I admire it, but I don't know if I could pull it off.
Yeah. Greg, what about you? What's your third?
So while I love candy, and may or may not go go to our office during the day specifically just to get Skittles from our one secretary who has a magical never-ending supply of them. Although I've done that less of late. I couldn't think of like a specific sweet thing that I would want to have endlessly. So I thought about other snacks, and I also love pretzels. So I kind of merged the two and went with the peanut butter filled pretzels.
Ooh,
sort of
very good.
marriage of the pretzel and peanut butter. So a little bit of the sweet, and I think I could eat them endlessly without getting tired of them. Unlike, if it was like Reese's peanut butter cups, I feel like I'd probably want to keel over although I mean, an endless supply of them would be awesome. But
I didn't realize how much I liked pretzels until I was in Puerto Rico, only for a few months, but like it wasn't an option. You couldn't buy them there. I didn't realize that was like a Northeast, maybe like Pennsylvania. Like you can get them other places, I'm sure, but like in Puerto Rico, first of all, our shopping was fairly limited, but there were some like real stores and they didn't have pretzels. You could get chips and everything. So like I feel like ever since then I've appreciated the pretzels a lot more. Yeah. Good. That's a good pick.
All right, Cal, what's your number 3?
So I'm struggling a little bit because there's things that I really like, but I just don't know if I could eat that much of them. Like, if it was the only thing I could eat for the duration of being on the island, I'd probably get tired of it. So I'm going to go with chocolate chip cookies, the recipe that I make, but only if my mom makes them. Because when I make them, by the time I'm done making them, I don't want them anymore.
I gotcha. Okay.
I smell them the whole time, and I'm like, ugh. But if my mom makes them, there's no issue there. So if she would just continually send me fresh chocolate chip cookies.
Absolutely.
I think that's Laura on from her phone.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was like, what is that?
Laura, turn off vibrate on your phone.
Sorry.
I thought that was your phone vibrating on the table, but
I thought
no
it was
one's
too.
lighting up, and I'm like, where's that coming from?
Sorry, it's me.
Oh, sorry, we have to say goodbye. See ya.
What? Ooh.
All right.
Can I just ask a hypothetical question about the snacks?
Yes.
So if you're allowed like chips and dip, like that counts as one.
Mm-hmm. Go
Does
on.
wine and cheese count as one thing?
Does what?
Wine and cheese?
Yes,
Yeah, I'd say that's
because
one
it's
thing.
parent.
Yeah, but it's too late. You
I think
already
cheese is its own category. You
See,
couldn't just eat chip dip
And
by
I would-
itself. Like they have to be paired with
Right.
I
the
mean,
chips.
no.
You don't know.
you.
But like,
Be a spoon.
I don't think I wouldn't allow beer and pretzels. that people say that those go
Okay,
together.
right, fair.
So-
Stick with mine. I'm gonna stick with mine.
Okay, I mean, I like the discussion, but we're gonna have to go. The party seems to agree that you can't do that because cheese can be
I mean, I'm
eaten
not
separately.
replacing. I just like if I'm thinking in a realistic world where donuts actually wouldn't exist for me, what would be my third?
Okay.
But if that's not fair, then that's okay.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to say no on that one. But thank you for bringing it up. Because snacks is probably the only place that's gonna come up. I don't see that coming up for the next 2 categories. So, what does everyone want to do next? Do we want to do TV shows or movies?
Don't you want to use
Did we do number 3
No.
yet? Oh, sorry,
think so.
I'm jumping the gun here. Justin, your third snack.
Okay. Real quick, I'm going to give Jamie's because I think you'll appreciate it. Her second one was actually Coke slushies, which is going to be my third one. So
there you go.
that was my other drink. So I almost went with Coke in the glass bottle.
Ooh, yes.
But
Also
the-
better than Dr. Pepper.
the slushy
wrong.
the slushy was like, it's not as good as the regular Coke, but it has the slushy factor, which makes it awesome. So like it's awesome in its own different way. But so that's going to be my third choice, and that was her second choice. But her third choice was soft pretzels, but not any. The kind you get outside of Germany in Epcot Center in Disney.
Just
Like
had it 2 months ago.
yes, and
Size of a small
oh
toddler.
my gosh, are they amazing? So I completely understand where that came from and the whole pretzel idea. So that wraps up her 3. My third one was the Coke slushy.
Nice. I have an update from Joel about the Oreos. The friend currently has 80 pounds in his freezer.
So they can freeze them.
Well, apparently they
Oh,
do.
And
my
that doesn't
gosh.
surprise me because you can freeze Girl Scout cookies.
Yes.
So.
Yeah,
But like
yeah.
80
Thin Mints
pounds.
frozen are really good. Just saying.
I can't. They never
Oh my
get to the
gosh.
freezer. I just eat like
Yeah.
the entire sleeve.
I'm like,
Why did
these
he
won't freeze
why did he
well.
accept the prize?
So the peanut butter covered in chocolate Girl Scout cookies were on my list, but they didn't make the final cut.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll have time at the end to do honorable mentions, but I think I did a list of 10 and pared it down to 3, so I have plenty. I have a bunch of other people's stuff, but I think I'm going to run through all of them at the end after we go through 3 by 3. But before we move on to the media topics, I'm going to do my third or my number 1, really. And I went with nacho cheese Doritos. I needed some kind of tortilla chip thing. And
I would have pegged you for chips and fresh
well,
salsa.
so chips and salsa was first out. It was my number 4. And specifically, I said tortilla chips and salsa from On the Border.
I feel like I don't
Yes.
even know you.
Chips and salsa, that's good.
Chips and salsa is a good one.
It was tough to leave that out because I think I had it for a meal like 3 nights in a row. Just chips and salsa. Well, we got the literal like quart or whatever from On the Border a few weeks ago, and I just like powered through that in like 3 nights.
I mean, when it's good, it's good.
It's very good, but I did go with the Doritos and just the classic nacho cheese. I know Kelly would go Cool Ranch. Not that she would pick Doritos for anything, but she's a Cool Ranch person. So
Yeah, no thanks.
Spicier nacho.
See, I like the. So is that like the regular?
Yeah.
just your
Dorito?
standard.
Yeah,
original,
that's the only Dorito I eat.
Why am I not surprised?
See, with the nachos, you could use On the Border salsa on the nachos.
Whoa.
So,
it's good
and if you
stuff.
were just feeling nachos and or chips and salsa one day, you could just,
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, let's be real. Nachos
Maybe
is the
you-
baller answer.
maybe you could make nachos with Doritos, or is that too many?
I've had that.
Too many
I've
combinations.
had that. It was
I don't
it was
know if that would
interesting.
be any
It was
good.
interesting.
I mean, that's basically a walking taco, though.
Yeah,
right?
right.
Yeah, you're right.
That's
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
That's true. I will read one here that we got submitted online just because I don't want to lose it or forget it. John Rogers says on Facebook that his snacks would be peanut butter cups, Funyuns, and Smart Food popcorn. And he actually
Ooh.
wrote it in a Boston accent, so that's a plus
Smart-
one.
smart
food.
Smart food.
John,
Smart food.
the white cheddar or the kettle?
Yeah, John, you got to let us know white cheddar or
I
kettle
didn't even know
corn
they had
because
kettle
that
corn.
matters. And Kelly,
I've only had
Kelly
the
would
kettle corn.
take
I haven't
both,
had the
but
white
there's
cheddar.
one that she prefers for sure.
Yeah, I could just sit there and eat a whole bag of it in one sitting. Not a small personal size bag either. Like you're supposed to make this last 2 weeks type of bag.
All right. Well, is there any decision on what we should do next? Does anyone have an opinion on TV shows or movies?
I vote movies.
All right. Greg wants to do movies.
Sure.
Everyone else, Laura?
I don't care.
All right. Well, let's do movies then. We'll go backwards, though, this time. So I'll go first, and we'll finish with Laura. So movies. I think, actually, number 1 for me will be easy. 2 will be which one do I pick, but I think 3 might be a bit of surprise. So I'm going to go with number 1 first, and that's Ghostbusters. I absolutely would pick that. That's easily going to be on the list. I think everyone here and listening probably would know that, and I don't really think I need to explain it.
Well, Melissa McCarthy is a really great.
I didn't say
That was
Ghostbusters
awesome.
Answer the Call. I said Ghostbusters. 1984.
Oh, that was great.
All right, Justin, what's one of yours?
So I'm going to get this off the board now. I'm going with
Don't say it.
The Dark Knight.
Oh, God.
No.
No.
It's an honorable mention for
Yeah.
We
I
actually had
knew-
a really lengthy conversation about this 2 years ago when we did the
right,
bracket
right,
challenge.
right.
So.
And yeah, so we know where each other stands on this. And I'm not saying it's the greatest, but it's definitely one of those where, like, when it's on, I am probably going to turn it on and watch it. However, watching it in, like, IMAX with the sound, like, the sound of the IMAX was cooler than the screen. The screen's awesome, but, like, when they're testing, like, the Gatling gun kind of thing in the IMAX, like, sound was just, like, it
Yeah,
felt like they were shooting the gun behind your head.
that car chase scene is unreal.
Yeah,
That.
so that made the list for me. Jamie's was Sweet Home Alabama,
Very nice.
which
I
I
think
also
I-
know because, like, anytime it's on, it's coming on. Yeah.
That's fair.
All right, Kel, what's one of your 3?
I gotta go with the best one first.
Okay.
Jurassic
Park.
Park. The best movie of all time. I can watch it over and over again. Love that movie.
I'm wondering if I can name all 3 of them. So I'll see. I'm 1 for 1 because I know that would have been on. I didn't know
I
if
thought-
that
I
would
bet
be.
you could.
I thought you meant, like, I'm like, isn't the next one Jurassic Park 2? Like, I was like,
It's the Lost World.
The Lost World Jurassic Park. Come on.
We're not going to talk about the third one.
But there's pterodactyls.
What about the new ones?
The new ones, I enjoyed the new ones. They're really good, but I don't know that I want to watch them over and over again.
Right. Nothing touches that 1993
Yeah, I
original.
can watch that original, and I saw it in the theater with my mom and dad in the middle of the summer. It was one of the the big blockbusters, and I was 8 years old at the time, and it just blew my mind.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I saw it in the theaters with Brian and Brent and Janet. And it was incredible, and it was on my top 10 that I had to narrow it down, but it did not make my top 3, unfortunately. But if in some, in another version of this, maybe we're all on the island together and we can share.
Ooh, yeah.
So I did
the best case scenario, guys.
I did have to clarify that with Joey the other day because I was like, that could change what some of my snacks are because I'm not going to double up with anybody at that point. Like,
well, we haven't doubled up on anything.
Right.
Except nachos.
Right. Yeah, there's separate parts of the island, kind of like Park City.
Yeah. We each get our own beach extension.
Right. All right. So. 1, 2, 3 down. So Greg, you're up.
You've all done your top movies, so I'll also do mine. I'll go with Empire Strikes Back as my favorite movie.
Star Wars shows up, but Greg's going with Episode 5.
Yes. Yeah.
The middle one.
Probably my favorite moment in Star Wars would be, and I can remember being little and watching Star Wars for the first time, and thinking that Darth Vader was going to kill Luke Skywalker while he's trying to blow up the Death Star, and then when Han Solo comes back.
Spoilers.
But just watching them for decades now, Empire Strikes Back is far and away my favorite.
Yeah, everyone
followed by Episode 4. So
I feel like most of the people in our group and our extended friends and family, when they think of Star Wars, they think of Brent, and that's probably where they think that I got my Star Wars fandom from. But actually, with Greg, that introduced me to Star Wars, not Brent.
Is it when you were Poop House?
No, before that.
This was before the Poop House scenario.
Pre-poop.
Pre-Poop House.
my mom had them on VHS. She was actually the one who showed them to me.
Yeah, and the first one I saw with you was Return of the Jedi. So actually, a lot of people our age I've heard on podcasts and whatnot saying that the first one they saw was Return of the Jedi. So it seemed to be a pretty common thing.
Yeah.
So all right, Laura.
With my dad, they were always good.
Do you remember which one you saw first?
Oh, we watched them. New Hope.
You watched them in release
but
order.
My dad was always a big fan, so when I was growing up, was that and Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I watched them with my dad.
So I struggle with this category a lot because I'm not a big movie person. I love to watch movies, but then I don't watch them over and over again.
Laura, is it The Christmas Prince?
Oh.
Kelly.
1, 2, and 3 to come out.
No, but I would say, what is the movie, if I see it on TV, what would be something that I have watched multiple times and I don't get sick of it? And that is Bridesmaids, because I laugh hysterically every time.
It's a good one.
So,
Melissa McCarthy shows up again.
I was going to say, if we're going by Kelly's attribution of that Ghostbusters movie to me, we'd already have 2 Paul Feig movies starring Melissa McCarthy. So, yeah. All right.
To choose movies in very different categories. So this is in no particular order.
Very much so. All right, so my number 2 movie, or the second movie that I picked, is a Star Wars movie. But I really struggled how I was going to narrow down the 10 that have been released and only pick one. I do not think you know which one I'm going to pick. Because while my favorite right now is Rogue One, I didn't want to cut out the Jedi lore altogether, which Rogue One doesn't have it. I mean, as much as I love that movie because it's war aspects and Darth Vader at the end, and I love it so much, I didn't want to pick it. I wanted something a little bit more classic. So while I thoroughly enjoy the prequels despite their shortcomings, I didn't pick anything from that. So I actually went with the original, the first one ever, Episode 4, A New Hope, because I felt like for the most part it can be kind of a standalone despite just not knowing what's going on with Vader, but I just think I can rewatch that one over and over and over and not really get sick of it. Despite me liking others more, I went with the original. So Star Wars, 1977. Nice. All right, Justin?
All right. I'm going to mention Jamie's real quick. I've never seen it, so I can't tell you anything about it. It's called The Holiday. I know what the movie is, but
Is that the one with Jack Black?
I think it is that one. Yes.
I haven't seen it, but that's
so. Here's the thing: I don't watch a lot of movies, and outside of Jamie being home with the baby during Hallmark Christmas time, she doesn't watch a ton of movies. So we don't watch a lot, but she definitely has seen a lot more movies than I do. Joey knows this, as we've talked about movies a number of times, and he'll bring up a movie, and I'm like, yeah, I haven't seen that. Like the other day, Jamie's like, do you know, like, they're making a Backdraft 2? And I'm like, I never saw Backdraft.
It's direct to video, though. It's not even coming out in the theaters.
But, like, she said it to me. I was like, I never saw the first one. And, like, she's like, she just looks at me like...
Kurt Russell?
Yes.
No idea.
The first one.
Are they in
The
like
first
a
one.
Well,
tunnel
no, but
or
is Backdraft 2?
cave or something?
In
Is it a tunnel?
Backdraft?
Yeah.
No.
What's the one where they're like in a tunnel and there's like a subway tunnel and there's a fire?
Escape from LA or something?
We're talking about Volcano?
No,
Yeah.
you're talking though about the... Isn't it, like...
With
Oh,
Kurt Russell.
I don't know if it's Kurt Russell, but it came out in like the late 80s or early 90s.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
I feel like it's one of those things that when they took us to the video store, it was one that I always wanted to watch because I like the action movies, but I was always too little. And
Right.
No, let's go with The Land Before Time.
George Lucas, Steven Spielberg.
I'm going to go with The Sandlot for my second.
Nice.
Another one where, like,
Kelly just mentioned
anytime
that
it's on, I am watching it. I've told Joey this, like, it obviously doesn't relate completely, but, like, the summer between my 4th grade and 5th grade and then 5th to 6th, like, when we were living in Columbia, near Turkey Hill Experience now, that wasn't there, but, like, we would go, we would go to, like, my parents would drop us off at my friend's house. His mom, like, kind of watched us in the summer, and right next to the playground, and we would go out and play baseball all morning, every morning, and we kept our stats. We did everything. Like, for the season, not just, like, for the days. Like, we kept a running tally of things, like, throughout the season, and then in the afternoon, we'd go to the pool, and then we'd go to our baseball games at night. Like, that's exactly... So when I watch that movie, like, it just brings back all the feels.
At the
pool,
the pool, were you trying to find Wendy Peppercorn?
I was not. But Locust Heights Pool.
There you go.
Rest in peace. It doesn't exist anymore. I
Oh
think.
no.
It's a great movie.
Yeah.
I approve of it.
Yeah.
We were for some reason talking sports movies briefly with my. My dad came over and was talking about his list, and Kelly was like, "If I picked a sports movie, it'd be The Sandlot."
Yeah, there's
Right.
no sports movies on my list, but if there was
And-
gonna be one.
And to be clear, like, if I'm picking one that I'm probably going to watch more, I'm probably going to watch that one more than I'd watch Dark Knight. But, like, I like aspects of Dark Knight a lot more. But, like, in terms of, like, feel-good movies, like, Sandlot is the go-to pick for me.
All right, Cal, what's your number 2? I'm 1 for 1 so far. Let's see
I
if
think you can probably guess this one.
Should I say it or you?
ahead.
I'm thinking Twister.
Yep, that's.
There we go.
I was good. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Also on my
I'm
short
also 2
list.
for 2.
That's also on my short list.
I
I
don't
didn't
know what
make
the
it,
third one
but
would be.
yeah, the third one's gonna be a bit of a mystery because I know it'll be in the running, but I don't know which one she'll pick, which is probably why she thinks about what I'm picking too. So
Well, Twister was one of the reasons I got so interested in storms and severe weather, and I ended up being a meteorologist. But I just love that whole movie. I love Helen Hunt. I love Bill Paxton. I mean, the graphics haven't aged great, but I'll still watch it over and over again.
I wish
And Natalie enjoyed it when she.
I wish
That's
we
awesome.
hadn't lost Bill Paxton and that they could remake it with today's digital effects because it does look really rough.
It has a great soundtrack.
Oh, it's an amazing soundtrack. Great
Really
soundtrack.
I didn't like Carrie Elways as the bad guy.
Why? Because
where
you
he's-
want to picture him in like men in tights.
No. I picture him from Princess Bride, where he's.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what I was
Yeah, he
thinking
doesn't
too.
really play
I've-
the bad guy.
No.
often.
I've never seen Princess Bride.
No.
Oh, Kelly's about to hit you.
I know.
Kelly slams down a card.
Yeah, there it is.
You're out. Off the island. Sorry, you're the
That one's
weakest
not on
link.
my list, though, so.
No. All right, good choice. And Greg, what's your second?
That is a good movie. I sort of forgot about that while I've been thinking about movies, but I also thought about quotability. And so not necessarily as much as I quote movies in relation to the amount that I like them. But one movie that I know the most quotes from, would never get tired of, and watch with the most regularity of probably any movie besides Star Wars that I've watched would be Christmas Vacation.
Nice.
there you go.
Holiday
So
movie.
I was just kind of thinking, like, what movie would I never get tired of? And I would also need a funny movie at some point. So,
We lost Lar.
so yes, I would pick Christmas Vacation. Good 80s Christmas soundtrack.
That's a good one. I had never seen it before I started.
Oh,
dating
man.
Joey.
I just
I
thought
never saw that one before. My parents love that movie,
Based-
so, like, that was one that, like, I would see kind of when I was younger. That was always one of those movies where like my parents would watch it and be like, "Oh yeah, I forgot about that part." Like when I was like really younger,
Yeah.
you know, like
Especially if you watch the unedited version.
Yeah, that's what happened with Laura and her family. They always watched it on TV, and then one year at their family Christmas gathering, they bought it and they watched like
They're
on
oh
with all the little kids sitting. Yes,
that is awesome. So Christmas Vacation is second
Yeah.
on Greg's list. Laura's back, so let's get her second movie choice.
See, Christmas Vacation was on my list too. I had 4 that
You're
I
on
couldn't
a
decide.
different island. You can still.
All right, I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take it the same.
It is. I think I had seen bits and pieces of it before, but then years ago, right after we moved back to the area, and Greg was really interested in it, I finally was like, I need to sit down and watch this whole thing. And ever since then, I watch it probably at least 3 or 4 times every Christmas season. I love it so much.
So you'll watch that, but not Avatar.
We are now at the point where Kelly and I are not watching Avatar because of your insistence.
You can ride the new Avatar.
By the way,
Yeah.
I haven't watched Avatar since it was in the movie.
We actually said months leading up to our Disney vacation, we should probably watch Avatar so when we go on this ride. We never did, and we're finally like, it's just to spite Greg. Like we
that's the
went
only reason.
we went on the ride and loved it.
It was a great ride. I have no idea what the things were that were flying around, but it was a great ride.
Yeah, it was very cool. But yeah,
that was also awesome in IMAX.
at this point it's just a running joke. Like
Yeah.
we're not gonna watch Avatar just because Greg wants us to.
And it's not even like that's like my favorite movie. It's not on my list. So
When it came out, you really
Yeah.
insisted that
Yeah.
we see it, and I'm just like, no, on principle, no.
All right, so we're gonna finish off the movies here before we get on the TV shows. My number 3, I think, was the toughest choice and maybe the biggest surprise because I haven't mentioned Harry Potter, I haven't mentioned Lord of the Rings, I haven't mentioned Jurassic Park, Twister, and a few others that I think Kelly could mention as well are on my list. But when it came down to it, it is a series. There are currently 4 movies in the series, with another coming out in the next 2 or 3 years. And the one that I pick will disappoint Kelly because I believe it's her least favorite, not counting Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. But my number 3 is Raiders of the Lost Ark.
yes,
Oh, I like Raiders.
That's a good
I
one.
know Kelly wants me to pick The Last Crusade.
Last Crusade is the
Oh,
best
yeah,
one.
And that is my second
Yeah.
favorite.
The Raiders of the Lost Ark is the worst.
Raiders of
what?
the Lost
Whoa,
Ark.
What? You like Temple
No,
of-
Temple of Doom is the worst.
No,
She
I thought
likes,
they
she likes
Doom.
Temple of Doom.
no, because my dad and I used to watch Temple
Yeah.
of Doom together.
Oh.
It's a nostalgia thing.
It
way
is.
that
No,
they-
you're
They
right.
ripped the heart
Who-
out?
yeah,
No,
that-
thank
Oh,
you.
his
I don't care about
fingers
that.
go into the-
Yeah,
The
no
la- the
thanks.
lady screaming nonstop.
Yeah.
I liked that movie, and then my dad pointed out the lady screams like every other second. I was like,
Yeah.
I can't.
Well, there's
You
that.
can't unhear it now.
Yeah.
There's that Family Guy joke where Stewie is recast in it, and she goes, "That the woman that's in that is just there because she's screwing the director," is what he alludes to basically, because like I guess no one really cares for her in that movie. It's actually a prequel to Raiders of the
Yeah.
Lost Ark, but yeah, I don't know. It's tough. If Indiana Jones is my third, I tend to lean Raiders of the Lost Ark, but Last Crusade is
Yeah.
so good, and it's tough to leave out with Sean
And
Connery
I was
in
gonna
there.
say Sean Connery makes
Yes.
sense.
Yeah.
Like,
We named the dog
and
Indiana.
we had
I
we
am
used
the
to have
last
on our really old computer, like the first computer we ever had in our home. We had the Last Crusade game, and you had to like make your way through the catacombs underneath Paris, and the computer always froze in the catacombs, so I never got past that part. And then later, when we got a newer computer, a couple years later, I tried to play it, but everything
And
was
it
like,
crashed and
well, everything was like so fast. That you
Oh,
couldn't
it was
control-
overclocked.
Yeah, the guy's movements because it was made for a slow computer.
I actually thought about Last Crusade this afternoon because we've been watching a lot of Hey Dougie with our
Yes.
daughters, and they were doing a treasure map, and he was like, "There, where the X. X marks the spot," and I was like, "X never marks the spot." But yeah,
Is Shia LaBeouf going to be in the fifth one?
I don't know. They haven't announced any casting stuff because I think it's at least 2 years away yet. It was supposed to be
Oh.
this summer, but then it got pushed back, and I think it's 2021 now.
I'm really surprised. I thought you would have picked like a Black Hawk Down or
See, I love that movie, and I do like to watch it at least once a year, but I want something that I'm going to enjoy and not, like, because that to me is an emotional movie. Watching Black Hawk Down, so sometimes parts of it is really tough to watch, and while I really love it, I don't know it's something I want to watch over and over and over again multiple times. But Black Hawk Down, I don't know if it made my list or not, but it's a top 10 movie to me. But for rewatchability and enjoyment, I have to be in a specific mood to watch Black Hawk Down and war movies like that. So those are my top 3. They're all very kind of related to each other, kind of sci-fi, fantasy, or adventure movies.
1980s.
Yeah, the good old days. That's when movies were really good. So, Justin, what's your third?
I really struggle with the movie one, trying to figure out what I want for the third one. Like, part of me wanted like one that I thought was like really funny, but the ones that are really funny sometimes like anymore, I feel old saying it, but like after I watch it so many times, I'm like, it's not as funny. Like, whereas when I watched it the first time, I was crying and laughing so hard. So I'm gonna go with Home Alone as my next one because while not the funniest movie, again, it's a feel good one. It's one that I can watch every Christmas, like all the time. Like, so I'm gonna go with Home Alone.
It's also a very quotable.
Yes,
yeah,
very much.
Jamie's was Steel Magnolias.
Oh, nice.
Which I've never seen.
I've never seen Steel.
Yeah, and I have a lot of people's to read. I'll go through them right at the end. And some of these movies have made an appearance, I believe, and some of them are vastly different. But Kelly, what's your number 3?
I'm also gonna move away from Harry Potter as much as I love them.
Okay.
I probably can't pick just one of that series.
Right.
I think you're probably gonna know what I'm gonna pick.
I'm gonna name 2.
Okay.
And I'm gonna say no. I'm just gonna say 1 because I think it's Apollo 13.
You're correct.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, that was an honorable mention for me too.
That is a great movie.
Love Tom Hanks.
Yeah, Tom Hanks is.
And it was a true story, and like you said, emotional because it really happened. Those people really were there, but because it has a happy ending,
right? Everyone.
It's a little easier to swallow.
They don't cover Apollo 1 very much, so it's easy it's easier to watch because you know everyone. It's a happy ending.
It's also one of those like the more I think about it because it's a true story, the more I am just
amazed,
blown away that they survived. Like that shouldn't have happened. Like it shouldn't have happened.
As a kid watching it, I'm like, oh, it's a great action movie.
Right.
I'll always pick an action movie over anything else, but as an adult, I'm like, holy crap! Like, how did they do that?
Right.
That is amazing.
Just recently, in the last couple months, I posted another question, kind of like this, of like, if you could only watch movies by 3 actors, what 3 would you pick?
Yes.
Tom Hanks is easily one on there.
He's everybody's dad.
Like he has so many
Tom
great
Hanks,
movies,
Harrison
though.
Ford.
Like Apollo 13 is the one that jumps to my mind right there. But I really like Forrest Gump and Castaway, and there's he was in. What was
Saving Private Ryan?
Well, yeah, Saving Private Ryan for sure.
Big.
But
Toy Story.
Big is amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, you get the Toy Story movies. Like Tom Hanks is just so perfect there.
But like, what if
Polar
you picked
Express.
Castaway on the island? That would be
Well, I'm not sure. Right, I'm not sure that was actually mentioned.
Oh,
in
the
the-
irony.
Maybe it's like tips and pointers. It's more like a how-to movie.
Do you have your volleyball?
Like if you did a toothache, here's how you fix that.
Knock it out. Use an ice skate.
Because we picked all junk food.
if I had to pick favorite moments of movies, the end of Apollo 13, like I said, the end of A New Hope, where Han Solo comes back.
Yeah, when it's silent and they all cheer. It's like,
Yeah.
It is a great cast. Like not just Tom Hanks, but Gary Sinise is in
oh
it.
my gosh! So
That
Kevin
other guy.
Bacon,
Yeah.
Bill
also-
Paxton,
Phil Paxton.
Yeah.
Again, 2 of my
good
favorite
old
movies
Bill
of all time.
Paxton.
Ed Harris.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
great Mission
Yeah.
Controller.
Yeah.
So I don't know if any of you have seen what Kelly and I refer to now as the like Apollo mission trilogy that is not related at all not done by the same directors or actors, but Apollo 13, Hidden Figures,
Hidden Figures
and First
is
Man.
See, I haven't seen First
No,
Man,
I
but
haven't
Hidden
seen
Figures
either
was
of the other two.
amazing. That was great.
It's not a feel-good movie.
No, if you're
No.
interested in NASA, the space race,
Yeah.
and Apollo missions, you got to see all 3 of those. They're all amazing. First Man, like Kelly said, it's not a feel-good movie. It covers Neil Armstrong, but like literally his life and how crappy it was to get to that point.
Yeah.
It's a sad movie. He lost a child very young.
Yeah.
It's hard to watch as a parent.
It was Kelly and I were not expecting. We went on a date night like, hey, we're gonna go see a space movie. It's gonna be great. And then we were sitting there like,
I'm like literally
trying
crying
not to
in person.
cry.
It's like not too small. I'm just like, I can't.
yeah. So it is very dramatic. It sticks to his. I don't know if it was an autobiography or I think it was a biography done of him before he passed away, and it's adapted quite well. But a lot of people are to love hate for them. Kelly and I really liked it, and if you are interested in that stuff, watching those 3 movies is really recommended. So,
All right,
Greg,
I'll go with my number 3, and because there's no music on this island, I'm gonna go. I thought about the scenario in itself, so there you couldn't like take along your favorite albums or anything like that, or have a radio or something. So I thought I need to get some sort of music, and I was like, what movie would fill that role? and so I instantly thought musicals, and then my favorite musical would have to be Les Mis. So while if I was going to sit down and watch musical movies, I don't know, like, I mean, that's the newest, and I don't know if there's old versions of it, but I thought it was really cool, and I also was in it in high school, so...
And it's being performed by Wilson right now?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
I was like, hey, we did that
amazing.
16 years ago, so I guess that's long enough ago. Right. But just, teaching high school music in the... I'm able to teach that to kids, and not the musical, but just, movements or pieces from it or songs from it. And I thought that would be sort of like the nachos is the way to get multiple foods into one. Yeah. So it's like sort of two birds with one
Get
stone.
Some music in there.
Yes.
Yeah,
and it's all music. So it's like nonstop. So
really enjoy Les Mis. Isn't that Jamie's favorite?
It is Jamie's favorite. And so like we went and saw it on Broadway maybe 5 years ago now or so. Like it was a while ago.
Before kids, and you could
it was before Austin. So I believe it was before Austin. So. I think it was like 5 years ago, relatively close to around now. But, we went up and saw Wilson perform that this weekend. Oh, my gosh, it was amazing. So, like, I'm really excited to get to see some of the kids in school tomorrow and be like, that was so awesome.
Yeah.
But
all right, Laura, what's your number 3?
All right, so I went along the same lines with Greg, but I did not choose Les Mis. I went with a newer hit, and it was an instant fave, La La Land.
We were talking about that before we started.
What, you thought I would pick that?
Well,
no, I mean, I thought maybe, but...
No, it was...
I was making Greg take a BuzzFeed quiz before this.
Oh, that's right. That's what it was. And then Kelly said that it wasn't one of her favorites, and Greg tried to tell her why she was wrong.
No, she said she didn't like the ending, and I was like,
that's,
"But
well, that's
Lee and
exactly."
I did not eye on that one, but
yeah, I really liked the beginning.
I haven't seen it, so.
And then I didn't like the ending, so it started out with great promise for me.
Well, it's all downhill from there.
But I can see why people like it. I mean,
John Legend ruined everything.
I haven't seen it, so I can't judge there.
Yeah.
I think really again, other than Christmas Vacation, there are no duplicates there. And if we're all on the same island, we get episode 4 and 5, so that's good. If we had Brent here, maybe he could pick Return of the Jedi, and we'd be set.
Nice.
So, all right, so we're gonna go to TV shows, and we're gonna go right back to Laura. So Laura, I think we're gonna overlap here a little bit, but Laura, why don't you go with one of your 3?
Friends, hands down.
I knew she was in it. She's like, first.
Yeah, I let her go first, but I'll just say right away that Friends is my number 1 as well. What do Laura and I really have to say about it? It's the greatest movie of all time, greatest TV show of all time. So it's not even close.
But my 2 and 3, like, they're like all so close. I don't know. Like, I love Friends, but like this was the easiest category for me, hands down.
Yeah, I was able to pick very quickly.
Pretty easily. All right, well, Greg,
movies I had to think about for a long time.
I'm having more trouble with
What's one of yours, Greg?
I will go with I'll go in reverse order. So my 3rd favorite would probably be Breaking Bad. Okay. I went for more of like a drama show. It's definitely a downer of a topic. However, it's one of those where when I flip on a repeat, I'm like, oh my gosh, this show is so good. It's just the writing, how the characters are interlaced with each other, and the lengths that Walter White went to provide for his family, and it really ended up being about him, but
Kelly and I haven't seen it yet.
Oh.
So.
I've seen the first
good.
season, and it's really good. It's just one of those. It's hard to find time to sit and watch it now, mostly because it's not one I can have on while Austin's playing.
Come here,
in the room or
son. Let's watch this together.
I will say the first season is definitely slow, and what hooked us was the end of the first season.
Oh my gosh, the end of the first season was
and then at that point,
my gosh.
At that point, I think the 5th season there's only 5 seasons, so it just had just wrapped up, and so we were like at that point, before kids, we could watch, the hour-long episodes, like 2 or 3 at a time.
Right.
So yeah.
All right. Kelly, what is one of your 3 television shows?
I was going to put Friends on my list.
But you knew that Laura and I would pick it?
No, I mean, I'm assuming we're all in different desert islands.
You're right, we are.
But it kind of got bumped. Yes.
Spoiler alert, it's not on my list either.
Not that I don't love it. Still would watch it anytime. It's just I don't think it's aged great.
I mean, there are aspects.
Every
Yeah.
single problem they have could be solved in song.
Right. Yes, that is. This is true.
Also, Ross is the smart one, but he's painted out to be the biggest loser on the show.
He's also like a really terrible person, just like
Yes.
in general. But I still love it. And it's so quotable. Like it's a great show. But and in no particular order. And my first one is Supernatural, which I don't know that anybody else here would have picked.
It was
never
on.
seen
It
it.
was on my list of 10 that I was narrowing down.
One of the reasons is it's super entertaining. It's got the scary factor. It's got the funny factor. It's also on
Longevity.
Longevity. It's got like 14 seasons and still going. So like there's a lot of choices in episodes. 23 episodes per season for 14 seasons is a lot.
Right. They just filmed, what was it, 300 or 350 or something like that?
Yeah.
Like in season 14 or 15, whatever they're on like episode 350 or something like that.
I thought you meant in like one shot. Like, oh man, how much?
No.
They're not afraid to make fun of themselves at it. Like they get
Their meta episodes are some of their best.
Yeah, it's a very like
Misha?
it's a funny show, and I enjoy it, and I got Joey into it.
Kelly got me hooked on it, and it's something that I shouldn't like because I don't like horror. Like you will not find me watching horror movies by choice. At least I watched a few years ago, and
this
just
is
like,
literally all about.
it's
the
literally
scary
about
things
monsters
that live
and
under
stuff.
your
Yeah,
bed.
and there are some that I like terrify me. Like the one about like was it Krampus or something like a Christmas evil. Like that one, I was like, this is awful. Not like the episode wasn't awful. It was just like watching the things happen was awful. And there was plenty of blood and gore and jump scares, which I hate. But she got me hooked on it. And
I like watching Joey watch the show.
No,
because
guys, it sounds like my nightmare.
We're on season
I am,
10 or 11, so we're getting caught up to the live.
this is my second time through.
Yeah, Kelly's watching it again. But that actually brings up a good point because Kelly would get included all new episodes of Supernatural as they air too. That's one of the rules of the island, that you're not getting only the stuff that's been produced. You get anything from the show yet to come out.
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
which did dictate some of mine.
Right. So Friends is over
Yeah.
unless there'd be some kind of revival, which I don't think is happening. But Kelly would continue to get Supernatural until it ends. So good pick. On my short list, didn't make my top 3 though.
Yeah, if I base mine on quotability like I did for some of the movies, Friends would definitely be up there because we quote that all the time. But
Yeah, we definitely do too.
Oh yeah, Justin.
I'm gonna go with The Office. Now this may be a surprise because I watched The Office regularly a lot, and then I stopped, and I'd only ever seen up into Jim and Pam's wedding until this past summer. Right. And so what happened was,
parent will do to you, Justin.
what's that?
That's what becoming a parent will do to you.
Well, that and like I was coaching, and like Tuesday nights and Thursday nights and Monday nights or whatever were all kind of like full. So it just didn't happen. So then it's on Netflix. And last year in school, a lot of kids started talking about it, and I'm just like, all the time I just want to be like, oh my gosh, I love that. Like,
Yeah,
so
it's
then
kind of made a comeback.
over the summer, like I ended up watching it, and so I saw to the end then last summer, and yeah, that is definitely my number one pick. Oh my gosh, like I love that show. Yeah, I just real quick on one of the things you mentioned about like how everything in Friends could be solved with the cell phone. Like I remember in Big Bang Theory, she talks about when she sees Raiders of the Lost Ark, she's like, it would have ended the same without.
If Indiana Jones was in it or not,
right? It would have
no
ended.
point to the story. Yeah.
Right.
And that was a glass shatter moment when that episode debuted and they said it and the characters all reacted the same way I did. I was like, oh my gosh, she's right.
Right.
Indiana Jones does not matter in this story whatsoever. Like they're still gonna find the Ark. They were still going to open it, and they were still going to die because they opened it. Indiana Jones has no reason to chase after it because it was all going to end.
I was the same way. Like when I heard that, I was
to
like,
it though.
oh my gosh.
He found it. He's the one who found it though.
No, they go through that in the episode, because I think Sheldon points that out, and then she has a counterpoint, and they're all like, "Oh."
Well, the guy would have gotten the medallion thing and the staff anyway without Indiana Jones, and that's the thing that points them to where the Ark is.
Yeah.
The only thing that happened that wouldn't have happened is that he was reunited with his
Karen Allen.
Yeah.
Right.
That wouldn't have happened otherwise. But that had nothing to do with the actual Ark.
Yeah. All right. So I already did my number one. It's Friends. So Laura, what's your second?
The Office.
Yeah,
All right.
Yeah. The Office was on my short list, but there were others in the similar category that I like a little bit better because The Office to me can be really awkward at times and it doesn't sit well.
Super awkward.
Like the first season, Kelly and I watched the first season in college when we rented it from a rental store, and
Nice.
we weren't sure we wanted to continue watching. Like I think the first season was 8 or 10 episodes, and we were kind of like,
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard in the beginning.
I didn't watch it at first. Like I saw it when I could sit down. Yeah, I got someone had me watch the first season, and I was like, "Oh, this is awkward," but it was really funny, so I was hooked.
Yeah, it's definitely a great choice.
Yeah, that for me, we just rewatched The Office, and for me, the first time around, having just gone either through college or just started working, none of the boss employee interactions made me uncomfortable. I mean, some of them did, obviously, but now everything was like, oh my gosh, like I
know,
just way more
like you just
uncomfortable.
apply it to things like at your work, and you're just like, oh,
yeah, like. And I don't know why that is. Like I was thinking about like war movies, and it's like now when I watch them, it bothers me a lot more than it did like when I was in high school. Like the first scene from Saving Private Ryan. Like when I first watched it, I was like, yeah, this is violent, but it's like now nowadays I think like, oh my gosh, like so many of our people died like during that. So it's like you think about it a lot more as you get older. So
today when I turned on the TV and TBS was on, The Office was on, and it told me that Scott's Tots was the episode.
Oh, that's the
that's
worst.
the most awkward
That's the worst
episode.
one.
So Laura, what is it about The Office that you like so much?
I have watched it from the very day one, and I have rewatched it so many times because I rewatched it then when Greg started rewatching it, and when Justin started watching it, and I love it. There are times there you just have to just grin and bear it and get through, but overall as the series, it's just one of my favorites.
Justin introduced it to me
And
when
I will say, I chose everything. I chose my TV show categories in like overall as a whole. Do I know that I definitely love this series because I wanted it to be something lighthearted and funny that I know that I've watched already a lot of times and I wouldn't get sick of.
Makes sense.
So that was my count for TV shows.
All right.
Justin introduced that to me when Laura was in Spain for 2 months and Joey and Kelly were living in Indiana. So Justin and I basically had each other.
But I have distinct memories, Greg. But I have distinct memories of watching The Office as it was airing in college, and you sitting there like having not ever seen it before, being like, "What is this?"
I can remember that.
Greg, what's your second?
So my second, I'm going to go with Game of Thrones. I've read the books. I wish that the other books would be out so I knew how it was going to end because I don't like not knowing how it's going to end. Yeah. I'm a person who I will, depending. I didn't do it for Star Wars, but for other things, I'll like search out like not necessarily spoilers, but like theories of like, okay, so I could come to grips with 3 options of how it could possibly end, and I don't know. I actually haven't read anything about Game of Thrones either, but just as far as the story and the whole, it's awesomely epic and everything. So
yeah, Kelly was the same way. She had read the books beforehand, so she would always watch my reaction, especially the Red Wedding.
I watched Joey watch that because I knew what was coming, and I sort of was like,
yeah. And that's how I heard about it because everybody was freaking out about that, and then
it was a phenomenon.
And then somebody posted a link to that scene, and I was like, this doesn't make any sense to me. This doesn't mean anything to me. So then,
and then you watched.
I had seen the scene, and then after a while, I was like, oh, okay, now I understand. And then I read. So what I did was I read each book. So I read the first book before the first season. The first 3 books kind of work out nicely, but then they start to
divert a little.
Yeah.
We had this discussion. I don't know if it was with you, Greg, or with Kelly, but I said, as much as I love Game of Thrones, I can't pick it because I don't think I want to watch it again. Like for just me, I don't want to sit through it. Like there's so much bad stuff that happens for the first 6 seasons that when you start to get the payoff here at the end of 6 into 7 and now hopefully in 8, although we're not sure yet, I can't think of going back and watching season 1. I can't. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen a single episode.
Oh.
Okay, you're part of that group. I don't want to ruin it, but
you're one of those guys.
There's part of season 1 that I'm like,
fish
no.
on the island, Justin.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not really my thing.
I feel like I spent a lot of times with with similar reactions watching Game of Thrones and The Office. There was a lot of times when I'm just covering my eyes instead of watching through my fingers for very different reasons,
Right, yeah.
but doing the same thing.
Kelly, what's your second TV show?
I don't know. This might come a little bit of a surprise, maybe not to you, but Bob's Burgers. I could watch Bob's Burgers over and over and over again. It's so
What is
fun.
that?
Oh, Laura.
That's one of my
Oh.
sister's favorites. My
It's
sister loves Bob's
so
Burgers.
good. I send Joey gifts from Bob's Burgers at least 4 times a day.
And Supernatural.
And Supernatural.
Which are the
Yep.
2 that you picked so far.
Yeah, but it's,
that-
so it's an animated. It's a cartoon.
It's a Fox animated show.
But it's made for adults, and it is
It's
so witty
hilarious.
and so funny, and
Is it
Yeah.
on Netflix or
Kelly
anything?
Kelly is Linda.
it's on Netflix.
It
It's
is?
Hulu.
Oh, it's Hulu.
Oh,
That's
darn
where
it.
we've watched it
How
on
are we
Hulu.
gonna watch the next? We have to get Hulu.
Well, there's always free trials. So yes, when we're done with Supernatural, we'll. No, I'm pretty sure it was on Netflix at one point, but then it went away, and then we had Hulu for a little, and we caught up
I'm
on there.
literally bringing up Netflix now because
Well, I hope it's back because we already get Netflix. So, yeah, you got. Oh, Bob, if you like animated comedy, like if you at all have any interest in The Simpsons, Family Guy, South Park, Bob's Burgers is, it's
So
on
good.
broadcast network. It's not on Comedy Central or anything like that. So they're not as, I don't want to say vulgar because South Park obviously is incredibly
I
vulgar.
don't think it's vulgar
But
at
Bob's
all.
Burgers, but it's
Yeah.
still adult oriented.
Oh, it's adult
But
oriented.
the
Yeah, they make
kids
sex
are
jokes and things like
hilarious,
that,
and Bob and Lynn, the 2 adult characters, are equally as funny. And the stuff that happens is just absurd, and it just
I
continually
laugh
makes you laugh.
and laugh. And it's just so funny. So I could watch that over and over again.
Yeah,
And it's still ongoing, so I get more.
Exactly,
Nice,
it
yeah.
is. All right, Justin, what's your second?
So I'm going way off the radar here,
Uh-oh.
but I have 41 episodes currently on my DVR. It's called Aerial America, and they just fly over different places and explain things about them.
That is
Grandpa's
amazing.
name.
With drones? With drones? Or
I don't even know.
Wait, so they're just
I think
telling
it's
you
like
what you're looking at? Like, this
yeah.
This is a
The-
field in
So,
Kansas.
right. Well, so they'll
Is it
fly over
narrated by
and they're
Bill
like
Cosby?
so
And that was old guy number 2.
so
Not Bill Cosby.
they fly they just like fly over places and just like explain like here's the Golden Gate Bridge and it was built in whatever and like they just like explain things like and I can't get enough
All right.
and I have them and I watch them over
So
and
if you were stranded on a desert island, you'd want to watch what the rest of the world is doing via drone.
well this is a lot of places I've never been anyway so like whatever.
What if they had an episode of Justin on the island while he's watching that episode?
Well, that would be cool. I do
Or
watch
Justin
watch
sitting on the
episodes of
island
places I've been.
watching Sinking Spring, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that without him.
I sort of get where you're coming from because I have been known to sit there and just watch the screensaver on the Apple TV as it like.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh,
On
they're
more
awesome.
than
So-
more than one occasion, we've had to Google
Yes.
what is on the Apple TV.
I wish they would have a
screensaver.
subtitle.
watching
One of them
right
does, and
So-
one of
Yeah,
them
a
was
couple
like
of them do.
downtown.
They update
LA
them
or
every
something
like
like that.
2 to 3 weeks.
I have watched. It just reminds me of that. I've watched. There is on Netflix. I think it's like called like Slow TV or something. It's a 10-hour train ride from like in Europe. Like
And
it's a
you've
10-hour
watched
train
all
ride.
10 hours.
And
the most Justin
and
Bieber
it's not narrated. It is just like the camera feed from the front of a train in Europe somewhere.
Oh.
They don't in like
Guys,
it comes into the stations and you stop. And when they're stopped in the station, you wait like 10 minutes in the station, and then the bell rings and off they go. And you can hear people laughing in the background, like the microphone's inside the car, but it's not narrated. It's just like inside like train car.
Are you dressed up as a conductor while you watch it?
I will neither confirm nor deny that I get Austin's like train conductor stuff out.
You
But
sit on the plastic one that you can push them around into.
This
Yeah.
is also on Netflix.
yeah, that was on Netflix.
Slow TV.
Aerial America is not, but there are a couple episodes on YouTube.
on
So
demand or
I have there are some on demand, but I have it record every episode when it airs. So there are 41 currently on our DVR.
So-
Like that's not an exaggeration, but I deleted the ones that I can watch on YouTube because like that's redundant.
This didn't make my top 3, but it was on my short list, and actually was my first one out. And this will be my grandpa moment for Justin. And Kelly will probably know, but also roll her eyes at the same time, that I would absolutely pick if it was an expanded list. American Pickers.
Oh, I love American Pickers.
Love American
I love
Pickers.
American
Oh,
Pickers.
it's so entertaining. Oh, it's so incredible. And the best thing is, it's still ongoing.
It is.
Like they're up to like season 15.
My
or
parents
something like that.
stopped at the place in Iowa one time when they were coming back from
Really?
Denver.
LeClaire.
Same.
Oh, it's amazing. It is so good.
I feel very gross when I watch it.
But
hoarding is a real
the
problem.
and the people they go to, 1 out of 3, maybe 2 out of 3 are hoarders. But the thing that gets me is I don't like any of the stuff they get.
Oh, no.
Like
No.
I'm not into Americana. I'm not into oil. I'm not into cars.
I love when they find something though that I'm like, that is a piece of junk, and they're like, I can give you $22,000 for it, and you're like, wait, what? And then they sell it for like 50.
The problem that I have when I watch it is, man, I'm really disappointed that my grandparents sold their farm and got rid of all the stuff in their barns. Knowing that they probably had a lot of this stuff in there and that they could have gotten something out of it rather than just trashing it, which is probably what ended up happening.
But this isn't on your list.
No, it didn't make the cut, but it was on my list of like 10. Yeah, that's what I said. It was an honorable mention for mine, but just because he brought up the Ariel one, I was like, I got to talk about American Pickers because I love it so much. It did not make my list. My number 2 is, and we talked about this last night, Greg and Laura and me.
Number 2.
My number 2 is The Big Bang Theory. And that to me went in the same category as The Office and Parks and Rec and shows like that. I was like, I want another sitcom, and I know Big Bang Theory and How I Met Your Mother is very close to Friends, but I enjoy it differently, especially because it has the nerdy aspect that Friends doesn't give you at all. And I know there's people that hate this show and wonder why it's so popular, but I love it.
That's how any show is, though. Like anything anything that people like, there are people that will hate that thing.
And like I know it's coming to an end, so I'm not really gonna get too many more new episodes. But there's 12 seasons,
right? Yeah, there's a lot,
close to 250 episodes probably. Same thing with Friends, there are 10 seasons, over 200 episodes there. So I know they're very similar, but that's just the direction I went. And just like my movies, all of my TV shows are all comedies in some aspect. So maybe I should have gone with a Black Hawk Down to mix it up a little bit, but I didn't. So all right, Laura, what's your number 3?
My number 3, I feel like, is sister show to The Office, but I love it maybe even more than The Office, and it's Parks and Rec.
Yes.
No.
Good choice.
On my short list for sure.
I felt like there are so many shows like Breaking Bad and Game of Thrones. Like I loved Lost a lot in college. Like all of those shows I have loved, but I feel like if I'm on a desert island, I want something that like is going to make me laugh and not make me feel like I hate my life because I'm on a desert island alone. So that was my mentality.
It's a great show.
Yeah, I'm finally starting to see Parks and Rec get the same syndication treatment that The Office and Big Bang Theory have gotten. Yeah. Parks and Rec is starting to show up more and more. I actually had it on the at the shop on Saturday. Like I think it was on for like 3 hours or something like that. And the people that I was working with had never seen it. And I was like, you have to watch this show. And we're watching near the end, like either I think the second or third to last season, so season like 4 or 5. So the little Sebastian was already gone. But it's a great show, and it was also on my short list because Parks and Rec is. I actually enjoyed that more than The Office. Parks and Rec was closer to my list than The Office was. So
I think I like Parks and Rec better than The Office, but I have watched The Office so much longer and still love it as a whole that I had to put them both on there. Like I can't. I love them both for different reasons.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I just said I love them both for different reasons. I think Parks and Rec is a better show, and I like the characters overall more in Parks and Rec, but I've watched The Office since like very day one, and I love it as a whole so much that I had to put, like, I can't choose between them. That's like choosing between children.
Well, before we get to Greg's, I do want to update everyone on John's list because he watches Ariel America.
That's right.
He's on board with Ariel
That's
America. He is not on his list. He did give me his TV shows. He said Cheers, Andy Griffith, and All in the Family. Cheers is a good one. A lot of episodes there.
Also on Netflix.
Very dated. We're watching that, but it is great. Kelly and I watched it over like 2.5 years. We finally got all the way through it. And John's movies were Caddyshack, Ghostbusters, and Sandlot.
All right.
A couple crossovers there with John. All right, Greg, what's your third TV show?
I'll go with Parks and Rec, like Laura, and I didn't put The Office on, and it was because I think of the recent rewatch of The Discomfort, and also the last 2 seasons of The Office just did not do it for me, and I felt like even though some people didn't like the futuristic thing of the last season of Parks and Rec, I still just thought as a whole, The only character I hated on the show was both of the Tammys, but even Tammy 2 was hilarious, like just hilariously awful. But like I just and I know that they're different shows, but in comparing the two shows, I was never like grotesquely uncomfortable like I was like Angela. I can't stand Angela.
Right, see,
from The Office.
that's what draws me to The Office.
And
Justin
or like
is an Angela.
any interaction with Phyllis. Oh my! So, but I love all the characters on Parks and Recreation, even if they're a little bit annoying. Like Chris Traeger is kind of annoying, but he's also like I also find him to be hilarious. Like he's also they sort of like poke fun of at the type of person that they are, like people like that.
Yeah.
So like he's super into fitness. He's like, I have a resting heart rate of 38 or something. Like he's always saying something like, I'm just gonna do a quick a light 10K during lunch or something like that.
I think Parks and Rec gets the bump up for me is because I like the characters more.
Yeah.
And I think the story was more consistent, whereas The Office was so up and down in terms of quality. Like the first season and then the last two are rough, but Parks and Rec gets better in the middle and drops off a little bit at the end, but it's the characters that makes Parks and Rec, and I think easily, and I think we probably would agree on this, that Ron Swanson is a top 3 character of all time.
Yes,
Ron Swanson makes that show, and that's hard to say because Andy Dwyer, Chris Pratt is great, Aubrey Plaza is amazing,
and April.
Right.
Yeah.
And Tom Haverford, I think he's hilarious too.
Rent a swag.
Some of the side characters are
Yeah.
great, like Tom
Jerry.
Haverford's sister. What's her name in that?
Yeah. No, not his sister.
Tom
It's,
Haverford's
you're talking
friend.
about
Oh gosh,
who now voices Nanny on the Muppet Babies.
so annoying.
Oh,
If there was
yeah.
if there was one person that I really couldn't stand, it was his friend, and I'm blanking on the
Yeah,
name.
what is his name? Laura, what's his name?
Wait, you guys were breaking up.
Tom
What?
Haverford's friend.
Oh, Jean-Ralphie.
Yeah, Jean-Ralphio, yes,
yeah,
yes,
there
yes.
it is, there it
And
is.
then their dad's Henry Winkler.
Right. Laura
You
with
mean-
the swish.
You mean Jean-Ralphio?
Yeah. Oh yeah, so good.
Yeah.
All right, Cal, I think you're up. What's your third and final TV show?
All right, this is hard because The Office was great, Parks and Rec was great. Thought about How I Met Your Mother, but I really hated the ending of that.
So did everyone.
My sister said to us when she was in that would be her show on the desert island. How I Met Your Mother. I just can't do it with the ending.
Yeah, the end really kills me.
So I'm gonna have a surprise one here, and it's one that we only started watching recently. It's still on. I think it maybe is in its third season. I'm not really sure. But Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh,
Okay,
yes.
yeah.
That is a good one.
Really funny, and also still happening. So I'll give you that.
I think it's actually on season 6.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, I think it did
It's been
5 on
renewed.
Fox, and now it's on NBC, and it's on NBC for 2 more at least.
Yeah. So I really
that's-
enjoy that show.
Yeah.
I think it's really funny, not heavy. It's a good show.
I think it
Great
tackles topics in a tasteful manner. You know,
Yeah.
like it tackles some tough things to talk about, but I think it does it really well. And it's funny because when it came on, we wanted to watch it, but I was a little hesitant because I wasn't thrilled with the other stuff that Andy Samberg's done, other than Lonely Island stuff is incredible. But like his humor doesn't always sit well with me, but this is completely
Yeah.
gone over expectations. I really, really enjoy Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
And Andre Brunger is
Oh
hilarious.
my, his
So great.
What's
his
the
capture-
Deadpan.
the quote that he talks about where he's talking about kids and being awake, and they're like, "Do you mean woke?" He's like, "Yeah, but that just sounds dumb."
Yeah, the characters are great, and the stories are even better. So that's a great pick. I believe it was in my top 10 to consider, but again, grouped all in with those other ones we talked about.
And
so.
like you and I have a few shows that we DVR every week, and there are some of them where I'm like, all right, if we're gonna watch it, we're gonna watch it. It's fine. But I am.
You look forward.
Yeah, I look forward to watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Right.
Whereas like some of the other ones, I'm like, I know Joey wants to watch it, so it's fine. I can watch it. The Orville.
Other than the Orville, I know, but you're on Big Bang and
I'm in on
Young
Big Bang.
Sheldon,
It's mostly
right?
the Orville that just feels like it's dragging and boring, and it's like a Family Guy episode in real life because all I can hear is his voice, and I'm just kind of over it. But
All right, Justin, number 3.
So, for number 3, I'm going to go with. Well, I actually have a question about this, but I'll get to that when we go through it. I'm going to go with Top Gear. All right.
Okay.
And
Oh, nice.
so now my question is, do I get to include Grand Tour? Because the 3 guys were, one of the guys really was fired from BBC.
Right.
They flip it so it's GT, and they do the same show, but it's on Amazon instead of BBC now. Now, either way, I'm going to probably pick Top Gear, but it would be great if it includes the Grand Tour stuff, just because, like, there are things that I'm interested in, like the cars that cost like $100 $1,000 and cars that cost like $2 million and stuff, and they're driving around doing all kinds of crazy stuff. But they also, my favorite episodes are the ones where they go on like these trips like across wherever. Like they were on Grand Tour, just like Jamie and I were watching one. She was just watching because I had it on. And next thing I know, we were both crying, laughing so hard, like because of like what's happening in the show. But they have to go like across Colombia and like find these different animals and like take pictures of them, and they're just like doing stupid stuff, and like it. Like I get humor out of it, but I like seeing them drive the cool cars. I like seeing them go different places. Like all of that stuff, I get enjoyment out of.
Is it called Top Gear and Top Gear Grand Tour, or is it
No,
Top Gear and Grand Tour?
It's Top Gear, and then BBC owns Top Gear, so that show has continued.
Right.
Oh, so I guess that rules out the Grand Tour then, because they still make Top Gear episodes that are not those guys. They do their own show now.
Yeah,
does that make sense?
Unfortunately, I
okay.
would say
I'm still
not.
gonna go with Top Gear because there are like 20 some seasons of them doing that show. But like, yeah, like the Top Gear, I don't really enjoy as much the Top Gear episodes now. They're not bad. It's just not the same as opposed. It's like watching when they do like a sequel to a movie and it's not the same people, and you're like, this isn't as good. Like. That's kind of how I feel about the new Top Gear. Whereas I can watch, and the alternative is I can watch Grand Tour on Amazon. So,
yeah, I was thinking if it was called Top Gear Grand Tour, maybe I'd allow it. But now that I think about it, I'm not going to let you pick NCIS and NCIS Miami as one show.
Well, and I wasn't even thinking of the fact that they're still making Top Gear episodes because I don't watch those. So so no, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's tough, but they got to put a line somewhere. I think that's where we'll draw it. All right, my third one. Oh, sorry, Greg.
I was going to say, I've only ever seen clips of it, but I feel like I watched an episode with you one time where they were in Russia.
Yeah, probably.
And they had to find some sort of Russian car and I'm pretty sure it weighed like 5,000 pounds because it was like solid steel. And they had I forget what, but it was hilarious.
Yeah, they do all kinds of crazy stuff.
For my third and final one, I wanted to get animation in there because I love animated shows so much, and a lot of them made my my honorable mention or my list to narrow it down. Bob's Burgers was on there, all the other ones that I've mentioned throughout the course of tonight, South Park and Family Guy. Like I really enjoy all those, but there's one that's been around for so long that has to be included, and it has, let's face it, 30 seasons. It's still new, it's still coming out, and while the stuff over the last 2 decades doesn't stack up to the first decade, especially seasons like 3 to 9. The Simpsons is just an American institution, for better or worse, and I enjoy it so much. I remember watching it, and I never watched the new ones. I always saw it on syndication. Like, we didn't watch new episodes of The Simpsons, probably because my parents didn't want me to, but I'd watch it on syndication when I get home from school. I literally, at one point, had my watch set to tell me that The Simpsons was coming on. I loved it that much when I was younger, and I haven't kept up with it now, but I think it's something I could easily pick back up again.
And there's 30 seasons.
Yeah,
right. I got all the time in the world. I crack open an ICT, kick back with my Oreos.
Joey goes back to 7th grade Joey.
Sounds accurate.
So
it's not all that far from 7th grade Joey. Let's be clear.
Just a little more facial hair. All right, so that concludes everything. We're running late, so I don't know if there's any honorable mentions that anyone feels like they have to get out there. I do want to hit the list here before we sign off, but is there anything else anyone wants to add?
I'll just read Jamie's 3 TV shows were Wheel of Fortune, Fixer Upper, and Chopped. And
Wheel of Fortune.
Oh, she loves Wheel of Fortune. Also, like Savant at Wheel of Fortune. Like, it pops up, and like sometimes I swear it's before they even flip any letters around, she'll just say it, and I'm like, well, we're going to have to watch the next 5 minutes because I don't know if that's right or not. So, but yeah.
So I mentioned John's TV shows, but he actually chips in with another American Pickers fact. He says they just found Aerosmith's 1970 van in Massachusetts, the original van when they started. It's being repaired, and Aerosmith's going to see it next week. They paid $25,000 for it.
Oh man.
Yeah.
And not because it sat on a farm for 25 years.
Yeah, so
they probably weren't doing anything crazy when they first started out.
A couple TV shows that weren't mentioned that I really enjoy. Blue Bloods, that would be my drama on there. And Kelly and I really enjoyed Veronica Mars. And I'm very excited for it to be coming back, I believe, on Netflix, I think. One of the streaming services.
That would make sense, because didn't they end it and then they made a movie that came out on Netflix?
That was crowdfunded.
What did it come out on?
I mean, it might be available now, but originally, like I just got a copy.
Oh, okay.
Because I backed it while we were watching the show.
Oh, I see.
But it's out now. It's been out for a number of years. But Kelly and I really like that show, and it is coming back.
I did have a question. Like, could I have picked, because this was on my list, but I didn't know, like, Phillies live broadcast?
I was just going to say.
Because my dad wanted to pick football.
Well,
but I was like, you need to pick a channel.
See, I was
going to
pick Red Zone. I was going to pick Red Zone, but 17 weeks. That's not enough.
Right,
Like,
that's
no,
what I mean.
And you can't rewatch it. Like, you lose something with rewatching.
And you can pick Phillies games where you only get them from basically April.
Yeah, but you get 162, and you get some spring training, and for the next 13 years, we're going to get some postseason ones. So like, we're good.
You can be specific about a sport, but you can't be like, I'm picking.
I can't
baseball.
be baseball, but I could say like, I want to watch the Phillies
I will watch
games.
Phillies on CSN or NBC Sports,
Right.
like something like that. Yeah, because my dad wanted Sunday football. I was like, nah, it doesn't work like that. Like, you need to pick CBS broadcast.
You could do like
Fox
Sunday
broadcast,
night football.
Sunday night football, Monday night football,
Or-
but you only get one game. And then I think Kelly was like, well, what about Red Zone? I was like, well, you only get 17 weeks of it then.
Right.
Or if you could pick a season, 2017 Eagles.
yeah.
2008 Phillies.
Yeah, that's one of my movies.
Yeah.
Season highlights.
Yeah. All right. So, real quickly, I'll run through the lists from people that we got. We got an email from Bailey, who picked her snacks as cheese curls, trail mix, and cantaloupe. Bailey's TV.
Someone throw something healthy.
I like cantaloupe, but not making the list.
No.
Bailey's TV shows were Law and Order SVU, Jane the Virgin, and New Girl.
Oh,
New Girl's a good one.
New Girl's fun.
And I love SVU. Movies: The Day After Tomorrow, appealing to the weather group here. The Devil Wears Prada, and Wonder Woman. So that's Bailey's list. My dad's food was popcorn, vanilla ice cream, and the Blue Goods chips. TV was
I like the red good stuff.
the blue ones are the deep fried, the crunchier ones. TV was Blue Bloods, Last Man Standing, and Hawaii Five-0. And now he did bring this up when he talked this afternoon. He wanted to know if for Hawaii Five-0 you got the original and the current, and I wasn't sure what to say about that one.
I'd give it to him.
Yeah,
It's the same show.
I'm surprised
It's the same thing.
you're going with and giving him that advantage.
Yeah, but are they the same characters?
No,
Are they the
it's
same characters?
It's the same premise, and it is the same characters. It's just different actors.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just a reboot of the show.
Yeah,
that one's tough.
Then,
I'm
I don't know.
vehemently against Last Man Standing, but
No, that's
we'll
a great
leave
show.
that one alone. Because I think we all know why.
Wait, Laura, what did you say?
I don't know. I feel like that's. If I can't have wine and cheese, I feel like you don't get two different.
Yeah.
Fair point.
His movies were Little Giants, Midway, and Rudy.
Okay.
Rudy's a good
Sports movie. My sisters were
Rudy was offside.
Blue Goods chips, dark chocolate, and coffee. So there's the coffee again. TV for her was Gilmore Girls, Hawaii Five-0, and Grey's Anatomy. Her movies were both Father the Bride 1 and 2.
Whoa.
And The Proposal, which is my favorite chick flick.
Noticing
The
a theme.
Proposal is my favorite. Can't
You
go
do
wrong.
always stop
When that's on, and I was just
Joey
like,
will
it's
stop
it's
clicking.
kind of like the other guys, the one with Will Smith or Will Ferrell, and what we talked about.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
like what movies won't you say no to, and what's a random one that always.
So,
comes up.
yeah,
So
one-
it's like, ooh, I had read all.
One that almost came up for me on those was I used to love the movie called Nothing to Lose. It was like from like 1997, and it was just about it's a random movie, but like we used to watch it at the beach every year.
I don't know.
loved
Yeah,
it.
I'm not familiar with that. Dawn's is chocolate almond ice cream, popcorn, and coffee. Her TV shows are Cops, on for a long time.
Whoa.
The Big Bang Theory, and Mom. And her movies were Green Mile, The Greatest Showman, which my dad and her listened to that soundtrack multiple times every day at the shop.
good.
And she also picked Christmas Vacation.
Nice.
My uncle Dennis picked Diefenbach's Blue Chips, Creamery Chocolate Almond Ice Cream, and Almond M&Ms.
Almonds.
His TV shows were Bonanza, SWAT, and SEAL Team. And his movies are Mask of Zorro, Three Musketeers, and The Muppets Christmas Carol. Which, if we did a Christmas version of that, that absolutely would be on there. And my Aunt Joyce's food was pistachio, pizza bites, and chips and queso. Sorry.
Oh, that's good.
TV similar to my uncle, SWAT, SEAL Team, and she picked The Resident. And movies, a movie that I thought Kelly would have on her short list, and it was on mine, was Armageddon. And
love Armageddon.
Yeah.
now she did put Star Wars original trilogy, so she's got to pick one of those. But unfortunately, I don't know which one she picked. But I'd guess the first one, and Independence Day.
Independence Day is a good one.
That
too.
is a good
All
one.
those 1990s action thriller.
Like disaster type.
So like
Yeah,
also
I could watch them
as
all.
you brought up those movies, like in Columbia, I feel like I'm almost sure that the only movie theater in Columbia, now there's ones
It's
near
the
Lancaster,
city, not the country, right?
right? Yeah. Where Turkey Hill Experience is,
Sponsor us.
was a drive-in theater.
Hello.
So I saw Twister and Jurassic Park and
nice.
Independence Day at a drive-in theater. Like that's where I saw these movies. It was
Never
awesome.
have I ever.
It was
Twister at a
always
drive-in
It was
is
the
very-
it was the double.
Yeah.
They always had the double features. You know, you go and like it was incredible. It was awesome.
Kelly and I did that, but I don't think we stayed in Indiana. Remember we saw that Surf's Up movie?
That was Penn State.
Oh, was that Penn State?
That
Okay.
was the last
That's
time we were in
broken,
Penn State.
gone,
Yep,
broken.
that sea urchin that got stepped in.
Yeah. That was Penn State. Oh, I
Yeah,
forgot. I was
remember
thinking it
we
was
couldn't
Indiana.
roll the windows down because there were so many mosquitoes.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So we just sat in a closed car and watched the movie.
But I think we left them before the second movie started.
I think so, but it was a kids' movie.
Yeah, it was the second. We watched Surf's Up and then we bailed.
I mean, Surf's Up was a kids' movie.
Well, yeah,
It was
right.
a kids-ier kids movie coming up after that. It's like
Yeah.
a train one or something. About Justin.
Justin's right, yeah.
I was gonna say, was it train footage from Europe? Because count me in.
10 hours in a drive-through.
Or was it a
drive-in.
plane just flying over some random place? Because sign me up for that too.
Can I mention one runner-up for me?
Yeah.
The TV show is The Good Place.
Oh, yes. That's very good, too.
It's different,
It is very different.
Just
And
entirely
the
different.
seasons are short, too. Only 10 episodes or so.
and I just think it's funny. And, yeah, just want to
To dance it.
Yeah.
Cheers
also
connection.
Cheers, yeah.
Yeah, it's different, for sure. But it's fun. Anything else? Anyone mention
Honorable
anything
mention
about
movies. Any of the other Star Wars trilogy. I thought hard about The Sixth Sense.
I
I've
love
been
that
talking about
movie.
favorite movie moments. Although I love that whole movie, like because when you watch it again, it's really good. And it's a shame that M. Night Shyamalan like wasted everything, and not everything, but most of his good storytelling and.
Although I
and
would
stuff in
now
that
like
first.
to see Unbreakable split in glass now that they have a trilogy.
Yeah, that
surrounding-
does
'cause
seem intriguing.
I have not seen Unbreakable. So.
Oh, I have Unbreakable. Like on.
Swear we watched that.
I know she swears we saw that, and I've never seen it.
You
So-
mentioned
I think the one thing that I'm a little surprised about tonight. I was surprised with myself when I did my list, but then I was like, someone will have to. Were there any Disney movies? Disney animated.
You know what? I
Pixar.
thought about Lion King, so that would have been an honorable
I thought
mention.
about Lion King and a few Pixar, but none of them cracked at least my top 3. I'm not even sure any of them were in my top 10. I think Toy Story was in there at 10.
What? Not Frozen, you guys? Not Frozen? You haven't seen it?
That a lot. I could enact it on the desert.
I was just gonna
island
say, yeah, I
myself
could sing
and
every
play all the
song.
parts.
See, I think I would be feeling on the desert island Moana. Moana would be a good one for.
Moana is a good
For a desert island.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you being serious? Or are you?
I love a good animated movie, but I will always pick action or sci-fi. over that.
Yeah, well, that's what
Always,
ended up
every time.
happening as well. But it's just funny for how much I enjoy the Disney movies, even if the girls drill them into our head repeatedly. They just didn't make the list. 'cause
See, if I was picking a Star Wars movie, I was
pick
gonna
The Force
pick The
Awakens.
Force Awakens.
Yeah, that's good. And what to stick to my favorite movie moment theme? The moment when you find out because we all mentioned Harry Potter, but nobody picked any. When you find out that Snape was a good guy all along.
Yes.
Best
If I
movie
was-
moments.
If I was gonna have to pick a
You
Harry
didn't know?
Potter movie,
No.
You didn't know?
Well, I've only seen one Harry Potter movie, and I don't know
really?
which one it was.
I know you picked The Prisoner.
Justin, stop watching Train, sit in a seat. Freaking Harry Potter.
Yeah, Kelly and I differ on our Harry Potter movies. She would pick either Half-Blood or one of the Deathly
I
Hallows.
would pick one of the later ones.
If there was one that came out in like December 2015, maybe.
No, you're late.
Oh no, I meant 2005.
Okay.
10 years later.
yeah.
That might have been Prisoner of Azkaban around.
Azkaban's my favorite. I know they're still
That's
young.
probably
there.
the one I saw, but like
I love the first one too.
I
I know
don't.
the special effects
I
aren't
was gonna
great.
say I love the
Was that
first
99
one.
or 2001? I think it's 2001.
No, I think it was 99 or 2000.
Yeah.
See, the first couple just the
There's a cheese
the
factor
effects
to them.
are
Yeah, right.
great.
They
The
weren't.
kids are great because they're so young. I just
I just feel like
how dark they got.
I
at the end.
feel like Azkaban is the last one where there's a bit of innocence to it. Like it's not so dark yet.
Well,
Yeah.
nobody's really died yet.
Right. Well, because they kick it up in the next one, right?
Right.
4 is Goblet of Fire, then 5 is
Yeah.
Order of the Phoenix. Yeah. So.
Yeah,
I-
dang, kids start dying now.
Yeah. The end of 4 is when things get a little crazy.
The dude
so.
from all those vampire movies, Edward Cullen.
Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
We just rented The Crimes of Grindelwald on Friday night.
We did. It was very confusing.
It was super confusing. I feel like I need a Wikipedia article to explain it to me.
I've already been there.
And I've read all the Harry Potter movies or the books, so I feel like I should have some better sense of what the hell I just saw.
What just happened?
Yeah,
Not only has Kelly read them, she's also read them to me,
Yes,
and
I
we'll
know.
soon be reading them to
I
Natalie.
don't
So
care if you want to hear this, you're going to listen.
yeah, so
I'm going to read them to
Gather round, Joey.
we really enjoyed Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them when it came out over 2 years ago. But the sequel and the reviews haven't been great. But Kelly and I were just like, it wasn't a bad movie. It was just hard to follow.
Yeah.
confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not that I didn't like it. I'm just sort of like, what? And then at the end, because Amy was in, and I was like, I don't want to say out loud that I don't know what happened. Because what if I'm just like,
Right. What if it was just me?
yeah. But then Amy's like, I'm a little confused. I'm like, oh, thank God. So am I.
Well, I think the whole
What
time I
happened?
was like, wait, what?
Yeah, Joey's thinking, Kelly's going to need to explain this to me. But I'm not going to say it in front of Amy.
Don't worry, there's 3 more coming out, so hopefully they'll wrap it all up real
Oh, wow.
nicely.
3 more.
Yeah, that's a 5-movie series. They're only.
I'll watch them all. It's not gonna
Yeah, it's not going to change anything. So
Other honorable mentions, real quick, would be, well, yes, Lord of the Rings.
Fellowship.
Inception, I loved.
Yeah,
And
that was on my list.
also, I thought about, oh goodness, I'm blanking. The Departed. I love that.
Oh yeah, you were mentioning that last night. Yeah. Any last?
I almost
minute
picked.
thoughts?
I almost picked Dazed and Confused because that's one whenever it's on I watch, and I also like
Yeah.
for the music aspect of it. Like there's some cool songs on the soundtrack there. So
Ferris Bueller.
Laura, anything else?
No, I don't think.
All right.
The only other movie that I thought that kept
What'd you
sticking
say?
out in my mind just because I love it because it pertains to so much of what I do for a living is The King's Speech.
oh, that's a good movie. That's a really good
yes.
movie.
I saw it like 3 times in the theater and I loved it every time, but I haven't seen it in a long time. I would love to watch it
I
again
would watch
soon.
that again. Let's do that.
Justin and I actually mentioned it 2 years ago when we did our bracket challenge because I think there was like we did kind of like side questions about movies where one of those was I answered the other guys because like I'm not going to turn that one off. I just like
Right.
it first. And we did I think what's one movie that you love that people would be surprised that you love, and mine was The King's Speech.
Right. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, no, I love it. Love it, love it.
All right. Well, we'll let Laura go since she's remote, and we'll tidy things up here. But Laura, thanks for joining us.
Peace out. Have a good night, guys. Thanks for having me.
Bye, buddy.
Thanks for being on the show.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So, anything else? We'll wrap it up.
I could keep naming movies.
Oh, I'm sure we could, but we need to wrap it up. So usually Justin and I take this time to give a shout out. So you have anything
No.
to mention?
Oh, I was gonna just say, but we kind of touched on it earlier that Wilson did an awesome job with their musical this year. Jamie went. We went out on Friday night and went up and saw it, and it was. I mean,
Did you see
It
it
was
when?
amazing.
No, I guess you were in college then.
No, I did not see it.
No,
Was it
you
your
seen
senior year?
Yeah.
No, I didn't see it then. The first time I saw it, so we watched the newest movie version.
Yeah.
Before, was that with Russell Crowe? Was that?
Yeah.
Before we
And Hugh
went to
Jackman.
see it in New York because like I kind of wanted to have an idea of what was going on before. And it was great because they're able to visual or like present some of the things in the movie that you can't in a musical, even on Broadway. But like, yeah, it was really good. So I was excited for them and that we got to see it.
Couple things. Congratulations to the Penn State wrestling team for winning the Big Ten title.
Yes.
Good luck to them next weekend as they go for, what is it, an 8th national title in 9 years?
Yes,
And would be, their 4th in a row?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Congratulations to Penn State men's hockey team for upsetting Ohio State today and going to play for the Big Ten championship in ice hockey. If they win, they're automatically in the NCAA championships. And happy St. Patrick's Day. Happy early birthday to Greg. coming up this week.
Thank you.
Also, soon, my cousin Todd and his son Jameson celebrating soon. And I'm trying to think, is there anyone else or anything else to mention? You mentioned the musical.
Did you say Jason?
Jason, are we on again before Jason's? Jason's at the end of the month, so we'll say happy birthday to him now because I'm not sure we'll be back on before then. So happy birthday to my brother-in-law Jason. And
I think that's it.
All right, well, we'll get out here. Really long, but really fun. I appreciate you guys taking.
When you said Anne, I was almost like, that's why we.
Hello.
Hello, fresh.
So, thanks everyone for being here. Laura joining us remotely. There's a lot of fun. We'll probably do one more show similar to this before we kick off our football previews. When we were taking a lot of breaks, so it doesn't sound as crazy, but yeah. So we'll be back again in a few weeks. Actually, I don't think our next show is until April 7th. So we're going to have a few weeks off here for a variety of reasons. April 7th will be our next show, and that will be near to the conclusion of March Madness. That's the day before the national championship game. We are doing our tournament challenge through ESPN's bracket thing every year. We already posted that on Facebook. You can get the link there. Go to the website. Go to the page, Twitter, Instagram. It'll all be posted. We want to get at least 68 brackets this year, one for each team in the field, because I think our max was 57 or 60 in the years past. So you can enter up to 3, but we just want people to enter and enjoy and have fun. So head to our sites and figure out how to join our bracket challenge. The winner gets a show shirt and the chance to appear on a show if they so choose.
Oh, wait, I have one more.
Oh, go ahead.
A League of Their Own. I can always watch that one.
That's a good one.
Tom Hanks.
Right. You get that if you're picking the actors thing, so it works out. All right, so thanks for joining us, everyone. We'll be back in about 3 weeks to talk something sports or non-sports related. But again, this was a lot of fun. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back again real soon.